Hi, my name is Garrett Harrington, and I have chosen to research and speak on the legacy of Mr. Jinnah. I focused on how Mr. Jinnah's example influenced subsequent Pakistan leaders. The picture on your right is Mr. Jinnah with the Pakistan flag in the background. Who is Mr. Jinnah? Muhammad Ali Jinnah is his name. He obtained the nickname Quade Azim, or Great Leader, in English. He studied at Bombay University and at Lincoln's Inn in London, which is a society for lawyers. He ran a very successful law practice in Bombay. He was a member of the Indian National Congress and Muslim League. Both were trying to free themselves from the British rule at the time. Muslim League was to represent the Muslims in the dominant Hindu country. A few years later, the Indian National Congress was trying to do a movement of non-cooperation from the British. Mr. Jinnah was not a fan of the movement and focused his efforts on the Muslim League. Things kept getting worse for the Muslims in the Hindu area, so Mr. Jinnah made some efforts with the Muslim League to make the partition of India and created the Muslim state of Pakistan. It was through Mr. Jinnah's consistency in the negotiations with the British he was able to succeed. He had a formidable presence, which also got things done as well. Mr. Jinnah helped Pakistan survive its first year of independence, and Pakistan's resources for survival were very limited and not in a favorable location to Pakistan. Mr. Jinnah also has a holiday because of him creating Pakistan. Few individuals significantly alter the course of history. Fewer still modify the map of the world. Hardly anyone can be credited with creating a nation-state. Muhammad Ali Jinnah did all three. So here is the leader's timeline after following Jinnah. The way these roles worked in Pakistan were very interesting. Depending on the person, they were pretty much the president, not so much the role they had. So as time goes on, it just kind of depends on the persons, either who are the governor general or the prime minister to really run the country, which is kind of odd. After Jinnah died, Kakawa Nazamuddin took over governor general. Nazamuddin took the office as governor general because he wouldn't interfere with running the country and creating the parliamentary process as the Prime Minister was trying to set up at the time. Prime Minister was Liaquat Ali Khan. He apparently was not a strong personality in office to get things done. And Liaquat was still working hard to institute a constitution for Pakistan, although Liaquat was working in the middle of a controversy and ended up getting assassinated. Next who came up was Ghulam Muhammad as the Governor General, and Nazamuddin was the Prime Minister. Muhammad was a strong leader. Nazamuddin assumed Prime Minister, but Nazamuddin was not a strong leader and therefore had a weak head of government. There were riots happening at the time, which Nazamuddin was held accountable for the disorder. And Muhammad decided to dismiss Nazamuddin as Prime Minister, and his government, Muhammad Ali Bagra, took the place of Prime Minister. With all the changes happening in the government, the political life wasn't in a good state and was continuing to be dominant over the people instead of the people having a little bit of say what happens in the government. Muhammad was getting sick and was forced to leave office. He was not well enough to proceed with his role. And Iskander Misra was to be the new governor general. Misra was a military leader as well, and now Pakistan was in bondage to the bureaucracy and military. The constitution was now complete, but Iskander didn't want to give any power to the government or give power to the parliament they had just created. So he put Pakistan in martial law and needed a new constitution. He claimed to lift martial law as soon as possible and named Ayub Khan Prime Minister. Khan was not happy with his new position as Prime Minister because it could end his military career. So Khan confronted Mirza and told Khan he needed to be Governor General. and pretty much forced Mirza to leave because Khan used his military power to have Mirza choose to leave, or military tribune. Martial law was still in place and lasted 44 months. Khan lasted a very long time as governor, as you can see. Not much change to the government. Now, Aga Muhammad Yahya Khan succeeded him as the president. And once again, the country was under martial law and was starting to do more of an election-based government and political system. That is a pretty brief history of what happened during Pakistan's leadership after Mr. Jinnah passed away. So as we can see from this lesson, they did not follow Mr. Jinnah's great example and influence. They weren't in the best of leadership, went away from Mr. Jinnah's reasons for Pakistan's creation was to help create a safe place for the Muslims, and they never really established a good political system and are still having problems today with corruption. Here are the cited sources, and there's some of the pictures as well.